The Xbox 360 turns 20 years old this year, which means there are adults watching this video right now that are younger than Microsoft's best-selling console that some of us played in our teens and 20s. We're getting old, man, but the Xbox 360 is still awesome. And you know what? So are you. But is it really worth buying one in 2025? Well, yes, but with a big asterisk that we will cover later in the video, so stay tuned. But first, why in the world would you buy one of these crusty old boys in the year of our Lord 2025? I'm going to show you. Let's do this. Given the economic climate, I think the number one reason people should consider grabbing an Xbox 360 is the price. Mind you, everything I cover will be in US dollars, as that's my perspective, but it should remain true regardless of where you're from. There are so many absolute banger games on Xbox 360 that are very inexpensive, but even the quote-unquote pricey ones are generally half the price of a single new modern game. And honestly, the expensive ones definitely aren't always the best ones. Not at all. It's often the opposite. Super mid games and niche genres that got mixed reviews, so they didn't sell very well, and they're hard to find now. Remember all that time you spent playing the timeless classic El Chavo Kart? The long nights you spent playing Operation Darkness with friends? No, you didn't play those? Then don't worry about it. I'm sure you've heard that prices spiked when the online stores closed, but it's really not affected things too much. $2 games are mostly gone, which sucks, but it's still cheap. Nearly every game is in the $5 to $15 range. Moving on to reason number 2, but before we do, if you're liking this, please let me know in a comment down below. Consider throwing a like on the video, and consider subscribing if you're into nostalgic content. It'd be greatly appreciated. But alright, how about an actual full library of tried and tested timeless classics? And dude, you're so lucky. I just made a video recommending 20 amazing must-have games. What a great opportunity this is for you. After this video, of course. Let's face it, modern console libraries, other than maybe the Switch, kinda suck. And it seems like half the games you'd want to play on them are ports, remakes, and remasters of these older games anyway. New games cost $1 billion to make and take 10 years to develop. Or more, Todd. Yes, I'm looking at you. Where the hell is The Elder Scrolls 6, man? I'm almost middle-aged. There's just less new stuff coming out. And since it's all big corporate money now, companies aren't willing to take risks like they used to. Everything is safe and predictable, with nice, rounded, metaphorical edges, and a stamp of approval from a board of directors and the HR department. Instead of waiting for the next buggy disappointment, you can play through the endless supply of incredible titles and timeless franchises, the games that made those franchises what they are. There are 7 Assassin's Creed titles on Xbox 360, the entire original Gears of War trilogy plus spin-offs, 5 mainline Halo games and multiple spin-offs, Oblivion, Skyrim, GTA 4 and 5, all 3 Fable games. I could go on and on. Often the most recent, and in many cases the definitive best titles in these iconic franchises are here, for a fraction of the price, often with all DLC content available on a physical disc. And you may want a 360 console for these games, as the backwards compatibility library is only at 632 games, of the nearly 2,200 total 360 games. That said, even Xbox One and Series X owners should consider a 360 collection, as those 632 games offer upscaled resolution and better frame rate most of the time. And hey, as if 2,200 potential games wasn't enough, there are also 462 original Xbox games playable on 360. You can check out its own backwards compatibility library if you want, just don't expect the same stellar results as a Series X. Still, your options are vast, and there's a strong argument to owning the console itself in 2025, just so you can play the full library. Speaking of physical discs, they're cheap online, easy to find through global retailers like eBay. Plus, you'll still find all sorts of random 360 games at thrift stores, pawn shops, donation centers, hell, even dusty old boxes from family members. Nowadays, we see this artificial price inflation through limited production runs on physical games, driving prices up into the stratosphere. Or some games don't see a physical release at all. You're just leasing it, at full price, mind you. from the company that hosts the server you need to download it from, and they can pull that plug at any time. Now, I'm not against digital games. I'm a big fan of Steam and the value of their quarterly sales, mind you. But as a collector, I like to see my games on the shelf, unaltered, and safe from the greedy grasp of corporate overlords. So maybe the games aren't the absolute shiniest and newest, but they are actually fun. Unlike a lot of the shiny and new games lately that have ranged from aggressively mid to absolute slop. And frankly, for $80, good God, Nintendo, you suck. I don't think I care that much about a shiny and new game anymore. Not when I can get 5 to 10 guaranteed solid titles, games that have been extensively reviewed and praised across time, that I can easily research and know that I'll like, and I can keep physically on my shelf forever, for that same money. The 360 also has one of my favorite controllers of all time. It feels great in the hand, the stick placement is awesome, buttons feel great, and the bumpers are clicky. You may think this is a silly thing to talk about, but fast forward 12 years from the 360's launch, and we got the Switch Joy-Cons. Awkwardly placed sticks that are super prone to drift, a form factor that doesn't even feel like it was built for a human hand. It feels like it was made for a tiny robot child or something. Trust me, ergonomics matters. There's one thing about the controller that sucks, and that's the D-pad. It's a floating disc of plastic that very maliciously, and I think intentionally, tries to ruin your day with missed or inaccurate inputs. Trying to hit combos in fighting games is absolutely rage-inducing. I suck enough as it is, I don't need the extra help. You can fix this somewhat with a very simple mod to the controller, which I have done myself and can recommend, and I'll link a video below that I used for mine. Just be sure you use a very thin piece of plastic or it ends up feeling too stiff. So let's take a quick look at how you can get started with the 360. You can easily find console bundles with cords, controllers, maybe a game or two even, for $50 to $70 on something like Facebook Marketplace pretty often, if you're willing to tolerate that cesspool of non-responders and be willing to barter with people and make offers. Otherwise, you can go the eBay route and pay a touch more for a bundle from a well-reviewed seller for some peace of mind. Hell, I'd also just recommend loosely asking friends, family, and coworkers if they have one lying around in the basement collecting dust. You'd be surprised by some of the things I've been gifted by simply asking, things people just don't want anymore. So that means given the price of Xbox 360 games, you can actually be up and running with the console, the controller, the cords, everything you need to get running, as well as a few of the best rated games of all time, for the same price as Mario Kart. Clearly that's a silly comparison, the Switch 2 isn't even out yet, but I think you get my point. A lot of people don't have a lot of extra money to throw around right now, and depending on where you live in the world, pricing and availability can vary pretty wildly on new stuff with limited print runs and whatnot. So that all sounds pretty good. But let's talk about that asterisk I mentioned earlier. What are the cons of the 360 and the things you should consider before you spend some money on it? First and foremost, as you probably already know, but as a reminder, early models are extremely prone to failure due to poor design. A flashing ring of red lights we've all come to know as the red ring of death. Do your research to ensure the model you're purchasing isn't one of the originals that had this issue. And those early models don't even support HDMI and they lack built-in Wi-Fi. Just avoid them, in my opinion. My recommendation, just to be safe and to have that peace of mind, is to buy one of the newer models, the Slim model being my number one pick, as it'll have the newest manufacturing date, and it runs the quietest and the coolest of all options, plus it has HDMI and Wi-Fi built right into the console. Second issue is the disk drive. Now, all disk drives and their moving parts are prone to failure, and although the 360 has a pretty solid, dependable disk drive, when they fail, and eventually they will, replacing them is a bit of a nightmare. It's not the mechanical process of replacement, mind you, although getting a 360 open can be complicated in and of itself. It's the fact that the Xbox 360 console is special, and will only recognize that specific drive due to a security key. So you have to perform some hacking, computer sorcery, and likely some soldering, if you want to actually keep the same console instead of replacing the whole thing. This will likely only become more common and more of an issue as time passes for those using physical media. Again, you'll likely get many, many years out of it, and according to some, lying your Xbox 360 flat can prolong the drive's life slightly, but how long it lasts is a question mark, and that's always something to be aware of with aging hardware of any kind. Now, the 360 is moddable. I don't know a ton about that, and it's not the focus of this video, but a modded hard drive in a 360 would bypass the disk drive and presumably negate this issue. Probably not something most people are going to bother with, but if you do go that route, it's a fantastic one, and the modding scene for 360 is a lot more robust these days. Third and final thing you should be aware of is that the online marketplace is down, as are nearly all of the multiplayer servers for games. This means all online-only Xbox Live Arcade games are gone permanently, and any DLC content for your games that you don't have on a physical disc to install directly is as well. This is why you should buy complete or bundle editions of games when you can. Games can and will still download patches, fixes, and legacy updates with an internet connection, hence the value of the Wi-Fi chip and the Slim model, but know that many of the games you love for the multiplayer are limited now to only the campaign. And some games like Destiny and Titanfall are just blank discs, to my knowledge, as they were online only. Now that sounds pretty bad, but when you consider that you can purchase a dozen Xbox 360 consoles for the price of a single modern console, and the biggest issue, the disk drive, is fixable if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and follow along with a video YouTube guide, or just bypass it with a modded console. Again, not the focus of this video, but it is an option. I'd say it's more than worth it. There's something refreshing about going back to these older consoles, popping a disc in, and just getting right into the games. Games you know are good. Games that don't require an hour-long pre-download to play, despite you owning the disc. And the ability to still collect new-to-you games for an awesome machine without stressing about the cost so much during a time where that's a real concern for many out there. Unless you're an idiot like me and you start buying them by the dozen. Don't be like me. Do subscribe, though, and stick around for more like this soon. Thanks for stopping by.